on his hands at that moment, but out of the corner of his eye, a dog was coming across the grass, and he realized the dog was growling and starting to run toward him. So he had to run somewhere. And just as he started looking around, a man came out of a door on the building and left the door open behind him. So in shot Shelby. Oh my goodness, he was in a strange room there with shopping carts in the corner and a closed door on each of the side walls. Straight in front of him was a different looking door. He was in a complete panic, eyes popping, chest heaving, when the different looking door slid sideways, just went. And then another door slid open just a little bit in front of that. In a shot, he was through them both and skittered across a beautiful room with soft furniture, carpets, and potted plants. Well, he sits back to relax and take in this scenery. He's a very interesting little guy because he seems to want to learn, and he never seems to stop to think what he's doing. And then he realizes he hears a noise and running steps and a jangly sound, and a man yells out a huge shout and leaps right toward him. And what's making the jangling noise is the keys that are hanging off his belt because he's the superintendent of the building. Well, Shelby doesn't know where to go or what to do, and he just has nowhere to go and starts running toward a wall. But unbelievably, the wall starts to do the slide thing. So he runs through that door, but he bangs into a wall right away, and he becomes quite dazed, and he's not sure what's happening. But as he realizes and clears his head, he realizes the room is moving. Now, I wonder. A few moments later, the motion stopped and the door rolled back. Out like a blue streak went Shelby. It was the right thing to do because, just as he escaped, two little elderly ladies stepped into the elevator. That was a stroke of luck for sure. Neither of them noticed him. And the door closed. Excuse me. Leaving Shelby in an empty space with two hallways running off in opposite directions. Having trouble there, sorry. Well, he's sitting in this hallway and he gets pretty upset again. All by himself, there's not much light, there's no windows, so he starts to cry. He's feeling really lonely and sad. But then around the corner he hears a sound, and when he takes a look, he sees a man walking toward where he is. And he gets into the elevator, but the door is still open, so Shelby runs really fast down the hallway, and he just dashes into that door as a lady steps out, and then the door shuts. So he's in there, and he thinks he's in a much better place. He thinks he's perhaps safe. At least there was daylight. He nearly lost it entirely when a big furry cat leaped at him from the Chesterfield, missing him by a whisker. He went instinctively toward the window, which was also a door. Through that door, gasping for breath, scuttled Shelby. He circled around in a pretty tight space before jumping up to get away from the cat. He found himself on a ledge, looking down at the top of a large tree. That's when something magic happened. He didn't even have to think about what he was doing. He just threw himself off the ledge and in the direction of the tree. His little legs stretched out as wide as they could, and on each side of his body the loose skin miraculously became a parachute. But more than that, it was a parachute that he could steer. By tilting his tail a little, he controlled his flight and landed perfectly on a branch that gave gently with his weight and swayed for a moment while he caught his breath. Well, you can imagine how fast he ran down that tree and ran home. In my story, I say, he almost became a blur. Taking huge hiccuping breaths, Shelby stammered, "Oh, Mother! Oh, Darby! I can fly! I can fly! I did it! And I promise to listen to you from now on. No more running away for me." Well, we'll see as the book unfolds how well he does on that promise. Perhaps not too well. The second story is called Moving Day for Shelby. That's when he meets this big black bird and doesn't like him very much. He's lucky. He gets out of it again. Let me just go through the subjects quickly. The third story is called Shelby in the Dark. He learns that flying squirrels fly at night. They're nocturnal animals. Shelby's new neighbor finds him buried in snow and being dug out by a snowshoe rabbit. Shelby's first Christmas Eve is wonderful because Santa Claus and all his reindeer land in the meadow that the children in the forest play with and in regularly. And he meets Santa with Darby, the two of them. January, he goes for a ride on the back of a big horse. Not before getting told off for being a naughty boy. Shelby in the Sugar Bush tells how he goes off on his own. He's quite lost, when he realizes that something's going on underneath him. And of course, he goes down to take a look. And there's rather a disaster. But you know, he's lucky. His mother and sister have followed him. So he's rescued again. In March, he does a good deed by finding a home for some raccoons that come to the forest in cages, being trapped from the city. In April, he goes to school. Again accidentally, because he goes inside a child's knapsack that has been left at the bottom of his tree while the children have a nature hunt. And he's sound asleep when they come back because he's eaten all the peanuts that are in the bag. And he wakes up in the classroom. Well, they think he's a mouse. He gets rescued. In May, it's called Shelby to the Rescue. And he has a mid-air collision with a robin. He hurts her a little bit, but he has to help her back up the tree because she can't fly. Her wings hurt. And in June, he meets one of his best friends that stays in the stories as well, named Marvin F. Mouse. And Marvin takes him into the scout camp that is in the meadow. And oh my, they get into quite a bit of trouble in there. And the last story in this book is called Shelby and the Meadow Mystery. And all the animals can't figure out what's going on in the meadow. I'll keep that a secret until we see each other. Meantime, I hope you've enjoyed listening, and I hope you plan to look for me on the next video I make. Take care, everyone.